Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Never Alone Homestead. My name is Cammie, and welcome back to the homestead. Well, guys, I came finally out to the garden yesterday and to check onto the garden piece. I made a video. The garden is destroyed, and because we had so much rain here, in many places they had snow, they had ice, rain and ice. We got bombarded with rain. So I came out to the garden to check onto the garden peas just because of the fact they've been in the ground for 2.5 to 3 weeks. And I dug down because I was just curious. It's a possibility. Did they survive that? The answer is no. Actually, they was nothing but they were rotted into the ground. The ones I did find looked like they had started to sprout, but then when you mash them, they were just rotted. So I replanted yesterday. And I'm hoping that I didn't plant them too deep. You're supposed to plant them 1 inch, which I did, but I went back and put some more dirt over them because we got more rain coming in. As you can tell, it is cloudy again. Yesterday, I'm wearing shorts. Today, my hands are freezing. So, yeah, here we go again. But this time, I'm not as concerned as last time. When the storm came last time, I came out here and literally tried to dig up some potatoes because I went ahead and planted my potatoes. In actuality, we got more rain than the weather was saying at the time that I had planted them. So I dug up my big potatoes and actually planted them back here into the raised bed. Now, when I dug down into the raised bed to plant these potatoes, I found a little rat holes. Rat tunnels. And this year I had a problem with rats, and I, really had to put some poison out and to get them under control. Last year, this year I've had problems with rats. Last year I had a problem with mice, which, you can kind of expect that because as you can tell in the background, there's cornfields here. So this year probably soybeans planted, but, they rotate out the crop. You have to rotate out your crops into the space that you're planting at. So last year we had cotton. This year is corn, and so last year was corn. This year is probably soybeans. But anyways, I dug down into the ground and found out that these garden peas have rotted. Now I went ahead and took the tiller and tried to till up the ground to try to get some air into that soil there, and to try to get it dry out since we had some drying time. The sun was out. The day before I didn't get into it, I was at the place where the greenhouse is low side tunnel, is being built. Unfortunately, the workers did not show up after we had an appointment saying they did came, but I wasn't there when they knew I was coming. I'm not very happy with that, especially when I had my granddaughter there. And she's almost 3, and it just wasn't a good situation. So I'm not very happy about that at all. So I didn't get to the garden that day. I didn't get my transplants on my plants that's going to be going into this garden. It need to be transplanted. I got to do that today. So I took the high arch. Let me show you my eggs while I put 6 and put them down. I got about 3 dozen eggs here. I got about 18 on the counter. The eggs are doing really good. My future plan is hopefully, try to freeze dry some of those. So I got out here with a high arch wheel hoe again, and I'm learning that. It takes a little bit of practice. And so I came out here, I tilled up the garden with a little tiller to get some airflow through that soil and get this fertilizer in there. I also had tested the pH again. It's perfect, which I never test my pH. I've always had success in my gardens, but we're living into the time of the grand solar minimum. With all this rain, extreme weather and stuff, you just got to test it. And I feel like you do to find out what's going on. Did it get washed away? Did the lime get washed away? Did the fertilizer get washed away? What's going on with my soil? Because we're already behind, planting time. And so that's got me concerned, as many homesteaders and people that plant gardens know. That's kind of gets you behind because the garden peas have been planted, but now they're rotted. So I went and replanted those yesterday, made up my rows, and hopefully I didn't plant them too deep because I started out, you're supposed to plant them like 1 inch, and I planted them 1 inch, but then I went back and put some more soil over them because we got more rain coming in. But the problem with that, with the rain, is it packs down the soil again. So yesterday afternoon, I went ahead and decided, you know what, I'm gonna plant some potatoes. I just, springtime is like this. It gives you the fever, a spring fever, and a fever of planting. So I decided to go ahead and take a chance. When you take a chance, like with the storm that came through, I didn't plant all my potatoes because you just don't know what's going to happen. Fortunately, I listened to my wisdom and went with Plan B this time because I had Plan B and set in order with potatoes set aside. I planted those yesterday. And also the potatoes, when the storm came, I came out here and tried to salvage as many potatoes as I can. I dug up my big potatoes, and ones that will hold seemed to be fine. And I took those yesterday and went back here and planted them at the raised bed back there. And when I dug down, I found out possibility I planted some potatoes in end of November, 1st of December, just to see how they would do into my region here. And they were doing great. Of course, we had the rain starting in January. But I found rat holes. And I said, oh gosh, that's what happened. Possibility in my potatoes because there was rat holes into my bed, and not very happy about that. But nevertheless, I planted those potatoes back there, and I went over here, used my high arch wheel hoe, and got this going again. Got the tiller in here, tilled at the soil, and took the high arch wheel hoe and tried to make me a row for the potatoes. Once again, I didn't plant them all, because we've got more rain coming in case this is a failure. The peas, I kind of overplanted those, so there's a possibility that even if I plant them too deep, they'll possibly be okay. I'm going to dig down the soil and see actually how deep I planted them, because when I sit down last night, I was like, man, I think I planted them too deep. I was thinking about this rain, but so nevertheless, all is well. No matter what you go through, just make it a great day. Over here last night, I took and I've been taking my ashes from my wood stove, and I put it in my garden. I've done that before on flowers, and it's done just excellent. It also gives me a place to put the ashes. It doesn't take very long if you have a wood stove, and you got these ashes. So what are you going to do with them? Well, that's one of the reasons I tested my pH into my garden, because I was curious with putting all this ash into the garden, how it was doing, and it was just perfect, and I'm so happy about that. Well, guys, I just want to give you a quick update what's going on with the garden. Garden peas are back in again, had to replant. Potatoes replanted again, and some that saved. And I checked my seeds last night because I overplanted these peas here to see how they was going to do. Make sure I got enough for my future planting. All right, guys, remember, no matter what your circumstance is, make it a great day. Please hit that like button so this videos can start getting out into the arena, that people will see them. Hit that subscribe button so you'll know when I'm loading up a video, and hit that bell. All right, guys, thank you so much, and remember to make it a great day. Well, I'm going in there to try to plant some of those seedlings, some of those little plants that I planted into the seed tray, and I've got some house tools trays. I remember last night that I can put up under my transplants, and so I got, I think it was 17 or 18 summer pick tomatoes from house tools, and they've got their second leaves on them. They definitely got to be planted, and I'm so excited about that, because I could just visualize my garden. So guys, we just need to stay prayed up, because we're living in a time of the grand solar minimum. We're living in a time of extremes of uncertainty, and just like me replanting again. And also my carrots are coming up, and but I replanted a little bit in areas I didn't see them come up. Doesn't mean they're not going to come up. It just means that I'm going ahead and put some more seeds in the ground, because planting season is getting behind. Last year I had a time with my squash. I've never in my life had a time with the squash. The grand solar minimum was in. We got rain, rain, rain. I think I had to plant at least 3 times, if not 4 times. I finally got my squash, but I didn't get the quantity of the plants I had like I normally would have, but I still got my squash. My point is this: in this season, we have to push, we have to be determined. We can't quit, park, and throw in the towel. We've just got to keep on keeping on. All right, guys, make it a great day. This is Cammie at Never Alone Homestead.